Well, good morning and welcome to another day with I Drive Crap. I just got done doing the school run and now I just have to run some errands. Today's fine sweet ride, a 1997 Honda Civic, otherwise known as the Bubble. Two-door, hatchback, stripped out. Shouldn't really have a radio, but it does. I think I've used it once. It sucks. Manual windows, manual steering, but it has power brakes. Why do you need power brakes in a car that weighs nothing? I don't know. It has it. I mean, it has some nice things. Rear window defroster. Somebody changed the gauge cluster before I got it, so it has a tachometer, like you need it. This one, it's funny. The red line, I'm guessing it came from a Civic Si because the gauge cluster, or I should say the tachometer, goes to 7,000. If you try and spin this motor to 7,000 RPM, you will hang the rods out the bottom. It won't do it. Doesn't matter what you do. I have tried. The original gauge cluster in here, this particular one says 110,811 miles. The original gauge cluster that I have, it says that there is approximately 256,000. Knowing what I know about this car, I would say there is approximately in the neighborhood of 260, which, I mean, in Honda speak, that's what, 70, 75,000? Does it ride all that great? No. Feels like it's been lowered a little bit, but from everything I see, it hasn't. It had accurate rims on it when I got it. Rolling down the turnpike, I had a tire go flat. After I finished eating lunch and came home, sat down on Marketplace, found a set of, I think they're Honda Fit rims with tires. Ended up meeting the guy at a Target and bought the tires and rims, jacked it up on a rainy day, and cheap. Done. Taking the old tires off, that was an experience. It has a, 1.5, 1.6 4-cylinder, full stock exhaust. I had to put a muffler on it rather than go the parts store zone. I got a stock one back, and the outlet for the exhaust is about that big. It's tiny. It works. If I'm just cruising around, it's nice and quiet. If you get on it, it has a bad aftermarket air intake on it. So it'll do a little bit of intake noise. Let's see if we can do that. There it is. Woo! Funny thing is with this car, you do that, you're not even breaking the speed limit, which is funny. But the nice thing is if you just want to be quiet and cruise, it'll do it. I have one more errand to run. I would like to stop and get some groceries. But other than that, with this car, it's been relatively trouble-free. Oil changes. Eventually, I'm going to have to do some constant velocity joint work with it because the way to tell if your CV joints are good is go into a parking lot and just do a tight circle. You hear a clicking noise, your CV joints are going bad. So, more than likely. Parts for these are just so cheap anymore that the way to go is just you can buy a whole new axle and CV joint together and done, $60, $60 for the whole axle. So it just doesn't seem to really make sense to just get a CV joint, take the axle apart, rebuild the CV, pack everything. It doesn't make sense anymore. That's something that's on the list for this car. When I need new tires, I still have the Acura rims sitting in storage, so I'll probably just put the tires on those, jack it up. Now that's another one where you end up with sweat equity. I will search around and find an appropriate size tire. At one of the box stores, you can find basically a tire stand. With that tire stand, you can just change the tires yourself. It's work. It is not easy and it is dirty. How much is your time worth? Do you have something else going on? Can you do it yourself? I have time. I can do it myself. A lot of times, cars such as this, tires such as this, I end up using their little beads. They're wheel weights you just dump in and they seem to do well enough. This vehicle for me I've done a lot of highway trips with this. We've taken it to upstate New York. We've taken it to Jersey, Harrisburg, Baltimore. For certain times of year, this car is better than others. I mean, the nice thing is the fuel mileage. If I really, really, really hammer this car, if I just beat the crap out of it, it still returns 30 miles to the gallon. So if I am nice to it, really think about my driving and think about economy, it can go to 44. Normal everyday driving, usually somewhere in the mid to high 30s. If you really think about the way that you're driving, you can swing your fuel economy anywhere from 8 to 14 miles per gallon. I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but you just think of the amount of fuel you use every week, every year, how much of that you just get to keep in your pocket. I do like this car. I like driving it because A, it's stick. I love driving stick. Personally, I believe standard transmission should be mandatory. Unless you have a serious medical problem, if you can't drive a stick, you can't drive. You may not need to have one every day, but you should at least know how. And I firmly believe that should be mandatory. That's just me. I am just one guy with a tiny, tiny YouTube channel. The way I was taught to drive stick by my father, this is the way he told me, my sisters. The way driving stick goes is when the clutch comes up, gas goes down. Gas comes up, clutch goes down. It goes like this. If you are not shifting, get your foot off the clutch. Leaving your foot resting on the clutch while you're driving, nothing good can come of that. You can blow out your clutch bearing or burn out your clutch bearing, burn out the clutch. It's just nothing. There's nothing good that comes from that. So unless you're shifting or right now sitting at a light, get your foot off the clutch pedal. Don't touch it. Driving around right now, I believe when they put the tachometer in this, they also had to change the distributor, and I think they have it off by 1 tooth, which isn't enough for me to do anything about. If I cheap out on the gasoline, which I did for this tank, it will detonate. You can hear a little bit of background detonation, the pinging as it were. Next tank again, I will have to put premium back in it. It sounds really expensive, but when you're getting close to 40 miles to the gallon, it really is not that expensive. Yes, just filled this up. I had it almost empty. Filling it to the brim, I still put in under 10 gallons. It was like 9.8, which I averaged 32, almost 33 miles to the gallon out of the last tank. It sat for a while. No real long trips, things like this where a lot of stop and go. You know, right now you can hear it. It's idling very nice and quiet. This is the type of year for it because there is no air conditioning in this car. You can sit with the windows up, still be somewhat comfortable. According to the sign, at 7:40 in the morning, it is 51 degrees. This kind of weather, t-shirt, well, who am I kidding? It could be 10 degrees. I could be standing out in a t-shirt. I don't really like the wind, but just the cold doesn't really bother me. Not a huge fan of the heat. Up where I am, we don't have Florida type humidity, but we have humidity, and it is never pleasant. We had gone on vacation a few years ago to the Outer Banks. Let me tell you, I burned like a lobster every time I walked out the door. Every single time. Didn't matter what SPF sunblock I put on, made no difference. Did I like the Outer Banks? Yes, I did. It was a beautiful place to be. I had a good time. Did I enjoy the fact that I really, as a ginger, could walk out the door? No. Us gingers are not natural day walkers, which is just a fact of life. I'm going to go in the grocery store. I think for today, I know I need tomato soup. What else do I need? Peanut butter. Weird, right? Peanut butter and tomato soup. Those two things do not go together. Look at that fine, sweet ride. It just stands out like hitting your thumb with a hammer. Peanut butter, tomato soup, more tomato soup, pork chops. So when we talked before about the engine in this fine, sweet ride, another thing is it doesn't really come up well. There's a dent on the front of the hood, which the dent that was going down the turnpike, and a BMW passed me, and a very large piece of metal came flying off of it and hit the hood. There's the wonderful air intake. Bone stock exhaust. Yeah, I still need to clean it up. I do not drive this over the winter because brine and Hondas don't mix, and I have other cars that do much better in the snow. This one really has no rust. It doesn't get used in the winter if I don't have to. There you see 110, 817. We flip the camera and here we go. Headed on home, take our little bit of groceries. I like cars. I like motorcycles, just like to drive. And it really doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter the size. I have this, which is tiny. At one point, I had a Mazda Miata, which I loved. I ended up getting rid of. When something ends up sitting too long, not getting driven, it's time to get rid of it. My Miata, loved the Miata, and it was fun out on the back roads. Out on the highway for a long trip, I just ended up getting a little too cramped. I loved the car. It was a 2000 LS, silver, tan top, tan leather interior. The only thing that it did not have was the 6th gear, and that was for that year on the special edition. Everything else the car had, I really loved it. I didn't use it, so it was time for it to go away. When you have multiple vehicles, parking becomes an issue. I try not to go too crazy. Now, that's a sliding scale, because what I consider not crazy may be really crazy to one of my neighbors. Parked on the street, I try never to have more than 3 parked on the street. Generally, I would have 2 of my cars and my wife's car. During the winter time, I generally will only have 2. During the winter, I don't usually use my truck because it's 2-wheel drive and I just don't need to. Same with this. The daily was a Chevy Equinox, which I got for free. The present ride is a 2011 Impala. We will go over that one in a little while. That is the automotive fleet. It is time to go and do some other things. Have a very good day, and until next time.